What's up everybody, this is Coach Stefano from Stefano's Training Systems. In today's video, I'm going to talk to you guys about the psychology of making mistakes and what is known as imposter syndrome. The reason why this video is so important for you guys is because there's a lot of players who end up making mistakes and they let their brain and the way they feel about the mistakes take over the game. So if this has ever happened to you, make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Alright guys, check it out. Starting off when I was a youth soccer player and even going into college and even sometimes now, what ends up happening is that you guys you're playing and you're doing okay, but maybe you're in an environment where your work does not get appreciated. Meaning, maybe you have a good play, you score a goal, you have an assist, and the coach, it just seems like you can't make any headway, right? The guy still subs you out, they still pick the favorites, they still at practice you make a good play and you check to see if the guy sees it, and to have no avail. It just turns out at that moment that's when the guy was on the clipboard or on the phone, right? So what can end up happening is your success, right, or when you have a successful play, it never gets appreciated. But when you do bad, now this is what drove me nuts and made me even question if I even was half decent at soccer, was when you do bad, that's when they notice. You have the bad play at practice, that's when the guy's not looking at the clipboard. When you are in the game, right, and you have one bad pass that maybe you pass it to the other team, right? The same mistake everybody else is doing, but you're the guy that gets called out for it, right? What can end up happening is you have what's called imposter syndrome. And imposter syndrome, I dealt with this myself a little bit, is the idea that you are not deserve it of your accomplishments. Meaning, let's say you have a good performance and you think that you should be rewarded for your good performance. You begin to feel like you're an imposter, like you actually don't deserve it. There's actually something there that would lead you to be a fraud, right? Like, yeah, you're a good player, but maybe it's only sometimes, right? Or, yeah, I had a good play, but it wasn't as good as somebody else, right? So you start to believe that you're not as good as what you were, and this could turn into a nasty sort of like getting tangled in a web of your own mental ability here. You could put yourself in such a mental state that even when you have a good performance, you don't even believe that you did, right? There was a quote, I forget who said it, but it says, soccer is truly about who you think you are and who you actually are, right? And that rings true across the board, right? If you're a player and you're having good performances, right, but you're not able to become a starter, or you're not able to get at least 50 minutes in the game when you're a youth player, right? Or half the game, you have a real hard time even like wanting to show up because you're in this environment where you have no idea what's going on. I'll give you guys a quick story, right? I'm playing college soccer. My numbers are better than the other guys, right? I'm getting goals, I'm getting assists. But every time you talk to one of these guys, they're like, oh, so-and-so, such a good player, so good. And I'm like, I have 3 times as many goals, multiple numbers assists over this guy, and I'm doing this with like way less minutes. Imagine if I was getting their minutes, how much I could really tear it up, right? And it got to the point where I even had to ask my dad. I'm like, Dad, you watch the games, right? My dad goes, yeah, of course. This guy, he watches with a serious amount of intensity. Okay, so yeah, I watch the games. I go, Dad, be honest with me. Do I suck? And you're just being like, encouraging? Or do I actually impact the game? Like, am I actually like even half decent? Because I was so lost in imposter syndrome, and I was so lost in my environment because it seemed like every time I did something good, it was almost like I got punished for it. And when I did something bad, I really got punished for it, right? One game where I tried to play a couple through balls that didn't get right to the player, and the guy goes, you're forcing it too much. So, next couple games, it was tough to break into the starting lineup, and I was like, hey man, even though I had one game where I put 3 through balls through that didn't quite make it, so-and-so still does not even come close to my stats, and such is not going to impact the game as positively as me, right? And this is at the college soccer level where the coach kind of gets paid to win the games. So imagine at the youth level now where you have a soccer coach, maybe he's a parent coach, and the guy's manipulating the environment to favor his son. Imagine you're in that one, where the guy doesn't care if they win or lose. It's about my son and his glory. You're going to have a hard time getting out of that imposter syndrome. So when you guys play play with a serious amount of intention, and a good way of thinking about it is the truth will set you free. So when I was a youth player and these parent coaches were trying to rain hell on me, there's a guy, it's in my book if you want, Untold Soccer Secrets. He was actually a convicted Wall Street felon. And he was telling my dad, who played second division in Spain for a little bit, he was telling my dad, the thing with your son is, the guy never played soccer before, right? Didn't even, if you looked at it, the way he kicked the ball, it looked so spastic that you would think that the guy had some kind of, something wrong with his motor skills, right? And he's telling my dad, who, grew up playing soccer, even played a little bit in Spain, right? Where it's pretty high quality soccer over there, right? And he's telling my dad, the thing with your son is this, this, and this, right? But here's where the truth will set you free here, okay? So me and my dad leave that environment. Really focus on making me just a better player, right? Me and my father and I, we never got into the politics of soccer, right? Well, we're friends with this guy and we're going to get this amount of playing time and we're going to make this deal here and we'll bring us and a couple other players so then we'll control the environment. We never did that stuff, right? Because that's, I don't know, lack of integrity, and it doesn't ring true, right? So as I focused on getting better and really focusing on what is true, right? Like, when I'm in the game, is my control good? Is my passing good? When I get a shot on goal, am I consistently shooting the ball well, right? Over time, I started to add layers to my game. And even though I didn't play for 2 years because I had a serious career-ending knee injury, right, where the doctor looks you in the face and he goes, my friend, maybe you'll come back to the level you were at. Kind of a little bit unlikely though, right? Even with that, if you compare the parent coach's son with me, the same stats, the same years, right? Homeboy played in a nonsense college league, right? Meanwhile, my team, the two teams I was on in college soccer, I was able to make a little bit of history. Only player in history to win the New Jersey Athletic Conference Championships on 2 different Rutgers schools, right? Now, I'm not saying that to brag, but I'm giving you guys a little bit of perspective and context here where you could be in an environment where they're pushing such an agenda that you have no idea that you're actually a good player. And to overcome that, the truth will set you free. Always make sure that you're doing your best to become the best player that you can be, and work very, very hard so you overcome all the nonsense, right? If you become so good that the team that you play for really needs you, and the team that you play for, they gotta have you, then I gotta tell you, the parent coach or the college soccer coach who is picking favorites and who probably made a couple backdoor deals, not going to affect you as much. All right, guys? So, are you going to get things like that from people who are in the soccer realm but are full of nonsense? No, you can't, because, people who are full of nonsense, they're not going to project honesty. It's impossible. So make sure you subscribe, like, share, and comment. Again, guys, 2 subscribers away from 400. 400 is a pretty big deal because that's, that's one more than $3.99. All right, guys? So keep it real, keep it simple. What is real cannot be threatened in the world, but not of it. All right, guys? Peace.